Alright, too, we're back once again to talk about the Oblivion Remaster, of course. We had the presentation today. I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to do a video following the presentation, but I did have some kind of minor concerns I talked about with yesterday's video that were luckily remedied today. First and foremost, the game looks absolutely amazing. That's not really a surprise. We obviously had leaked screenshots and stuff of the game, and goddamn, it looks beautiful. I mean, I'm not even like that much of it. Like I said before in videos, I'm not necessarily like an Oblivion fan. I don't hate the game or whatever the fuck. I've just not played it a lot compared to other Bethesda games. But god damn, dude, just seeing like side-by-side comparisons and just seeing this trailer in general, it looks so damn good. And it was revealed, if you want to call it that it was Virtuos that was making this, because they've worked with Bethesda in the past, apparently. Again, I've not been up on the Bethesda stuff, you know, in quite some time, so I don't really know all the history of Virtuos in Bethesda these days. One thing that did kind of stand out to me that I don't know how people are going to feel about it, that they mentioned in the presentation, is that they re-recorded all the dialogue for the game, and I just don't know if that's necessarily the right move. I don't know exactly. Like, I'm fine with them obviously remaking the game, even, you know, remixing and updating like combat and things like that. But I don't know, there's some iconic aspects of the original Oblivion that you can try to do it again with a new voice cast, and maybe they'll hit the mark. I'm not entirely sure. I don't personally have an attachment to the original voice cast, of course. It's actually something I'd be kind of interested in you guys kind of speaking on if you're like a fan of Oblivion, been playing it off and on throughout your life or whatever. I'd just be kind of curious what people think on them doing that. So I kind of think back to like the Silent Hill HD collection. A lot of problems with that shit, obviously. But them, like, re-recording the dialogue was one of the biggest complaints in a lot of ways. And luckily they gave you the option to, like, use the old dialogue or the new dialogue. Except for with Silent Hill 3, you were just forced to hear the new dialogue. But I wonder if that's not something they could have incorporated into this, where you could choose to use the new voice cast or the old voice cast. But besides that one particular thing, as a kind of like a surface-level fan of Oblivion, I don't think anything else at all stuck out as a bad thing to me. I think everything else about this looks great. Previously mentioned having some potential concerns when it comes to the remaster, and those were thankfully alleviated with this presentation. And it's simply a price and platform. I wasn't sure if they're going to go for like the full price route, which you see sometimes with remasters, where they try to get you for even for ports sometimes, they try to get you like the $60, $70 price. Luckily, that is not the case here. It is $50 for the standard edition of Oblivion Remastered, which is fantastic to see, man. That is kind of following suit with what we've seen from other companies. I don't know how many companies have done this with their remasters / remakes of games, but the first one that comes to mind, of course, is Crisis Core Reunion, something we talked about a lot on the channel. That's in a kind of similar position to Oblivion Remastered. You know, it's kind of in the middle of like a remake and remaster, and they enhancing combat and things like that or whatever. And also re-recording dialogue, which I imagine had to take a lot of effort for Elder Scrolls Oblivion, right? It's got to have significantly more dialogue than something like Crisis Core Reunion, but both of them are $50. Another concern that I had was platform, specifically whether or not this game was going to be coming to PlayStation at least like day one or relatively soon after release or whatever, and luckily that is the case. It's not going to be like an Xbox exclusive only thing, like Xbox and PC or whatever the fuck. It's also going to be day one on Game Pass, which is nice. But yeah, here we have it on the PlayStation Store. Standard edition, of course, $50. The deluxe edition, which of course gives you the base game. You get the Akatosh armor sets and weapons, the Mehrunes Dagon armor sets and weapons, digital art book and soundtrack app, for $10 more. Also, at any point, you can buy the deluxe edition upgrade for the extra $10, which is nice. Also, it kind of goes without saying, but I did fail to mention it in the video, but the remaster, of course, will include the DLCs for Oblivion, Knights of the Nine, and Shivering Isles. Again, my dudes, I have no complaints when it comes to the Oblivion Remaster. I did not watch the gameplay like presentation they did afterwards. There's like a 20-minute showcase thing they did, and then you kind of waited around for a few minutes, and then like started up like a gameplay showcase, but I was like, I don't need to watch that. We get it. I know how, you know, a modern Bethesda game plays. I know they've enhanced the combat or whatever. The Souls-like parry system or some shit that we talked about recently. That's cool or whatever. I don't really need to see it. We get it. This, of course, has me excited for the Fallout 3 remaster that we talked about a few times. Pretty much every time we talk about the Oblivion Remaster, we've talked about Fallout 3. Because if we can get Fallout 3 that looks like this, it looks like the Oblivion Remaster, but maybe give it like the combat of Fallout 4, goddamn, dude, take my money. You can give me the fucking $60, $70 price tag for that shit. I'll probably buy it. Also, this is something I'd like to see them do with, you know, Fallout New Vegas, of course. Like, that's stupid to not do this. Like that's, as much as I love Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas is immensely more popular. They'd just be leaving money on the table to not give that the remaster treatment at some point. Like, my God, the amount of money they'd make off that. I do want to say, too, really quickly before we wrap the video up here for my Squarinx people out there. We're not becoming like a Bethesda dedicated channel or anything here, but I will say this is what started the channel. This is something I used to do a lot of videos on for the first several years of the channel. I am a Bethesda fan here at heart. Pretty much 2015 and back Bethesda. Pretty much everything after Fallout 4 I've not really been a fan of. So when they're, you know, touching the old catalog, as I talked about in the past, like that's something I'm interested in, and especially for, you know, Fallout 3 Remaster and stuff like that. Very much interested in what they're going to do in the future. But at the same time, there's nothing to really talk about with Square Enix right now. There's nothing FF7 to talk about, FF9 in general Square Enix news. There's nothing to really talk about, and I gotta make some content on goddamn something. Part of why I didn't upload for like 3 or 4 days or whatever over the weekend. There's just literally nothing to talk about in regards to Square Enix that I could find anyway. It's worthy of a video. Nothing to talk about, dude. So like when there's dry spells, I mean, we're gonna talk about something on the channel, whatever it might be. And this like Oblivion Remaster stuff kind of happened at the right time where gives us something to make a little bit of content on. Said though, we might do another Bethesda video tomorrow potentially because there's something I want to talk about that I did see on the old social medias and shit. But that's in regards to whether or not there's something Square Enix to talk about. Maybe something interesting could happen tomorrow for Square Enix. Who knows? Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe to help you guys. New session works in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @YT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine or leave it like Cobain.